You're listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson, the podcast that tells you what it really takes to build a business and the simple steps to get you there. I'm determined to share with you the reality of easy, simple business marketing tips to make passive income so that you can start making money online. I'm excited to tell you all about the Business Box run by my good friend Lauren. It's a subscription box for entrepreneurs packed full of goodies to help you be more productive, more organized, make more money, and look after yourself. Each month you get a business book, stationery, office supplies, and something that's to do with self-care. And best of all, it's all tax deductible. Plus, if you use the code LJPOD at checkout, you'll get an extra gift in your first box. So go check out the link in the show notes or go straight to thebusinessbox.co.uk now. Hello and welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about something that seems fairly basic, but that not a lot of people do correctly, I believe, and that's goal setting. And you might be thinking, well, you don't need to set goals, just go and get the things you want. But actually, from what I've seen, goal setting is the thing that so many people miss out, and then they don't understand why they haven't managed to make what they really want in life to become a reality. It's because they don't actually know what it is that they want to make a reality. So we need to start right at the basics. So I wanted to go back there. So I'm here with Laura Russ, who's an expert on this. She's like your business bestie. She helps business owners level up their businesses using her level up system. She's your right-hand woman for brainstorming all those ideas and putting a plan in place to make them a reality. And it's that plan that I want to talk about today, because Laura is great at goal setting. And when we were talking about it recently, she has a kind of different way of looking at things and kind of realizing why people don't do this. So Laura, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No worries. So let's just talk a bit about, why do you think that goal setting, first of all, why do you think people miss it out?
I think people roughly know what they want.
Like in their head?
In their head, yeah. But actually putting it down on paper or fleshing out the details, they don't tend to do, because they've got an idea of what it is in their head.
It's like when people come to me and they say, oh, well, my goal is to make more money. And I'll say, okay, how much money do you want to make? And they go, oh, well, I don't know. And I'm like, well, how will you know if you hit it then? Like, people talk about having targets all the time for their goals. But if you don't know exactly what you want, how can you hit it?
Exactly. And there's an analogy, whereas if you were going somewhere, let's say you're going on holiday, you're going to the airport, an airport you've never been to before, let's say it's London Heathrow, you wouldn't just put in London and hope that you land at the airport. You would put in the terminal, London Heathrow, Terminal 5, whichever one it is that you're flying from, and then your sat-nav will take you there.
To the exact place you want to be.
Yeah, so it's the same with goals. If you don't write them down, don't flesh out exactly what it is that you want, how are you going to get there?
Yeah, and you won't, is the simple answer. You won't get there. And I see this with money a lot. When people say, well, I want to make 20k months, let's say, and I'll say, okay, and I'll ask them two things. What's that money going on? And they'll go, oh, just some things, debt and some clothes. And I'll be like, well, exactly how much do the things cost that you want? Because if we get into this granular detail, you're so much more likely to get there. And then the other thing I ask them is, oh, so what do you need to sell to make 10k months or whatever they say? And they're like, oh, well, I've got different packages. I'm like, okay, how many of each thing do you need to sell? Because if you don't know that, how will you get there? And I really believe in visioning, like really visioning what it feels like to get there.
Yeah, 100%.
And not in a woo-woo way.
But visualization is actually a really good way to help you achieve your goals. Once you know what they are, being in that visualization of you achieving it and already having it, feeling those feelings of what it will feel like once you have it is really important. Loads of like really successful sportsmen and women, actors and actresses use visualization to help them get what they want. Michael Phelps, Olympic swimmer, he's been noted as saying he's used visualization from the age of 11 to visualize not only winning his races, but seeing himself come up against obstacles that he might face in a race and how he would overcome them. And he's won about 20 Olympic medals.
People need to do that with the obstacles. I hadn't thought about it that way, like with the obstacles, because we always visualize the goal, how we're going to get there. But we don't see the obstacles along the way. And actually, that is going to happen. You are going to have some ups and downs. You are going to have problems. We all do in business. Seeing how you overcome them is so powerful, because if you can see that and know that the obstacle is going to come, you're not going to give up. You're just going to continue and find a way around it. Then when it does happen, you're more prepared.
Yeah, 100%. Because life happens.
Yeah.
No matter what, life is still going to happen. If you have something unexpectedly happen that's not bad for you, that is upsetting, or it doesn't have to be the exact thing that you visualize, but like if something sort of derails you, affects your mindset, sort of think, how am I going to overcome that in the moment?
Yeah, that's so true. So with goals, one of the biggest issues I have is when I say to people, okay, what do you actually want? So if somebody works with me, what's the goal that you're trying to get to? It can be very vague. How do you help people to really know what they want?
So I would ask somebody to break down what they want into different areas of their life. So for me, like for you, I imagine it'll a lot of the time be money or business related. Similarly for me, but I also help people with their personal goals because I have a background in positive psychology.
Okay.
And it might be that they want to work on their health or their business, or it might want to be their relationship, things like that. So breaking it down into key areas of their life and then setting goals in each one. And picking out the goal, the biggest goal from each area, and putting a plan in place of how are you actually going to achieve that? What do you need to do each day, each week, each month to hit that goal, so that they've got an actionable plan that they can put into their planner?
And can you work on more than one at a time? Because I often have like a money goal, business goal. I've often got a health goal these days. And then I might even have a personal goal. So would you say to work on all of them, or do we need to be like picking one main thing?
I think it's absolutely achievable to work on them all.
Okay.
Like, so for an example, if you say wanted to improve your health and you wanted to take 10,000 steps a day.
Okay.
You also wanted to work on your self-development and learn a new skill. You could use the time that you're out walking, hitting your 10,000 steps, to listen to your audiobooks or your course that you're doing online, whatever it might be. You could combine those to the same
Being
thing.
Efficient with your goals. I like that.
Yeah. And then if you've got a money goal that you want to hit in your business, by learning these new skills that you've got from your course or your book, whatever it might be, you can use that in your business. And you can use a tool called time blocking in your planner to say, right, between 8 and 9, I'm going to go do my steps, listen to my book. Between 9 and 1, I'm going to respond to emails, get more sales, get posts on social media, grow my audience.
I'm a big believer in time blocking. For the first 3 years of my business, I time blocked religiously, because when you have all of these different goals, and I have a lot, I've always had a lot of goals and I have a lot now. It's really hard when you're on your own at the beginning, because you've not got like a marketing person who you can give some of these goals to, or a salesperson to give some goals to. You're just doing it all. And so time blocking those things in really helps. Like when you were talking about, if you have a goal, you then have to think backwards. Like you have to think, well, what am I going to have to do monthly to hit that goal? What am I going to have to do weekly? What am I going to have to do daily? That's also how I do things, how you just said. So I like that I'm on the right track. But I had to time block that in daily, because otherwise I'd get to the end of the month and I go, oh, I said, let's say, for instance, I said I wanted to become more visible and I wanted an extra 1,000 people on my email list. I would then say, okay, well, I want 1,000 people on my email list. I'm going to do that by getting more visible. That would be as far as my goal went. And then I'd be like, this isn't working for me. So what I had to do is then go, how am I going to get to that goal? Okay, I'm going to pitch to podcasts. I'm going to speak in at least 5 different memberships a month. And I'd literally write down the actual things I needed to do to get there. And then I'll spread it out. Okay. So what do I need to do first to get onto a podcast? Well, I need to research the podcast. That would go into week 1 time blocking. And then week 2 would be like, okay, now I need to pitch to the podcast. And there might be learning gaps in there. Like I didn't know how to pitch.
Yeah.
So I had to go and do it. But I found that time blocking massively helped me with my goals.
Yeah, it's a really useful tool. And some people can also become discouraged because if you get to the end of the week and you look back and you think, well, I went over there or I didn't do that, people can then think, oh, that doesn't work for me. But actually, it's an evolving process. And you can just think, right, what didn't work? Okay, I didn't really have enough time with the kids. So next week, I'm going to plan more time in with the kids. I might get up half an hour earlier, spread it out a little bit more, just evolve it each week, figure out what's
and what
not
works
working
for you, I guess, as well, because everybody's different. And when we did time blocking right at the beginning, my kids were like 2 and trying to do that whole morning routine that people do with 2 2-year-olds was impossible. It was so difficult. So I had to find ways for it to work for me. So for instance, the exercise bit that I always wanted to do, I would do like a TV video exercise, like an instructional video, and the kids would be behind me pretending to do it, but it meant that I could do it. So I'd just find ways to do it. I think it's really easy. I don't know what you think about this. I think it's really easy to make excuses about goals, about why you can't put them in because you won't hit them anyway.
Yeah, and that's a mindset thing.
Oh no,
and it feels safe. You're comfortable if how you are now is comfortable. What you need to do to achieve your goals is stepping out of your comfort zone, and that your subconscious mind wants to protect you from that. So it'll tell you can't do something, or you don't have time to do it, or all of the excuses that you can think of is your subconscious mind trying to keep you feeling safe and comfortable, because whatever it is that you're trying to achieve is stretching you, it's pushing you.
But that's a good thing, right? It's good to be stretched and to be pushed.
It is. Your subconscious mind doesn't know that, though.
So how do you get over that? How do you stop worrying about that? Or how do you not listen to your subconscious mind?
You need to be aware of what it's saying. That is the first step. So a really useful tool is sitting down and thinking about what exactly it is that you want, writing it down, and then listening to what comes up for you. What is that little voice in your head saying to you when you're saying, I want to earn 6 figures this year. I want to earn 10K months. What is that voice in your head saying to you? Because there'll be something that your beliefs are formed across your whole life, and things that you learn or are told up until like 7 or 8 years old, you take to be fact. So if your parents argued about money when you were younger, like you'll have negative emotions and feelings about that. And you'll have internalized that. And you may not even know that
was me. I internalized it. More like I used to say to myself, without really knowing it, like in my subconscious, people from where I come from don't make 6 figures. I used to tell myself that all the time. I didn't even know I was saying it. So outwardly, I'd be saying, I'm going to be a millionaire. But inwardly, there'd be this sort of laughing voice going, as if someone like you doesn't do that because where you came from. And I picked that up as a child.
Yeah, similarly, my mum and dad didn't have loads of money when we were growing up. And going into being an adult when I actually had my own money, I used to spend it like as fast as it would come in. And even now, my dad still says, you're terrible with money. And you take that in, don't you?
Take it on board.
Yeah. So I think growing up, my mum and dad not having a lot of money, like my dad used to wear jeans that were ripped before ripped jeans were fashionable. Yeah. My mum used to have holes in her shoes so that we could have new things. And I think when I got my own money, I was like thinking, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to spend it before.
Yeah, otherwise it will disappear.
Yeah.
Otherwise it will go away. Yeah, I think that's really common. And I think these kind of mindset issues can have a real detrimental effect, not only on you hitting your goals, but on you even writing them down, even believing that you should have goals that are this stretch, that are this big. But if we don't have them in the first place, we have no possibility of getting there.
Yeah.
So do you think the mindset part is the bit you have to work on first?
I think you have to know what you want first.
Okay.
Truly want, and then listen to what's coming up that's going to stop you achieving that. Because if you try work on the mindset issues first, you might not be hearing the right things that come up for you. You need to hear what's coming up for you. So you can work on those. And affirmations, I know some people don't like affirmations, mantras, even just calling them a positive quote and saying it to yourself. I am a 6-figure business owner. I am fit and healthy. I have a loving relationship. Whatever it might be that you're working towards, it may feel uncomfortable saying that out loud.
Yeah, like you're humoring yourself.
Yeah. And it's much easier to say something negative about yourself, isn't it? Like, oh, I'm useless. Oh, it was never going to work.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system. And what that does is it filters out useless information. Like your brain would explode if it took in everything that was going on around you all the time. So it filters out things that you don't need to focus on. So when you know what your goals are, and I'll come back to this, but it's really important to write them down. It's activating that part of your brain, the reticular activating system, to focus on what it is that you're wanting to achieve. So there might be opportunities that arise that you may not have noticed before or picked up on that will help you on the way to achieving your goals.
I think this is what some people think is manifesting.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Because when people say, well, I started thinking about what I wanted and it happened, I think it could have happened the whole time. It's just that when you decide what you want and you're very vocal about it and you write it down, your brain, that reticular activating system, then tunes in and goes, okay, well, where are opportunities to get that then? And so suddenly you see them where they were probably there before.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, have you ever been looking to buy a new car? You decided what car it is, and then all of a sudden you see it everywhere. Yeah. You're driving down the road and it's everywhere. When you've never really noticed it before, because it wasn't something that you were conscious of. Yeah, it wasn't something you were thinking of before, so your brain wasn't making you aware of it.
A really good example of this is when I had the twins, people were saying, oh, what pram are you going to get? And I saw everyone wanted at the time this thing called a bugaboo. It was like the big pram. And before that, I couldn't have told you what that even looked like. And I definitely have never seen one before. I would have told you I've never seen one. After that, I saw them everywhere, all the time. And you see people with kids and prams everywhere when you're a parent, whereas before that, you don't even notice. Like in every coffee shop, they are literally surrounding you and you don't notice it. And then suddenly you notice where they all are because your brain is looking for those things.
Yeah, because it's relevant to you now.
Yes, that is why. So we need to make sure then that we know what these goals are so that our brain can click into that and go, okay, well, let's find some opportunities to get that. Why is it important to write it down?
So writing your goals down makes them a physical thing, a tangible physical thing in the world.
Okay.
So there was a study by the Harvard Business School in 1979, and it surveyed all of the participants and asked if they had goals that were written down with a plan of how they were going to achieve them. And I can't remember the exact sample size, but I'm going to roughly try and remember. It was about 97 participants didn't have any goals written down.
Okay.
2 of the participants had goals, but they were just in their head. And 1 of the participants had goals that were written down with a plan of how they were going to achieve them. And 10 years later, they came back and they surveyed those same participants. And the participants that had the goals that were just in their head were earning twice the amount that the people with no goals were earning. Wow. And the participant that had goals that were written down with a plan of how they were going to achieve it was earning 10 times the rest of the participants combined.
Wow.
So writing them down really, really does focus. And it helps activate that reticular activating system because you're actually going through a process of detailing it.
I think as well, writing it down means that you hold yourself a little bit accountable, because I think it's really easy when you have these goals in your mind to sort of move them or change them. Like, oh, I want to make this much per month. And then if it's not going to happen, you sort of move it. Suddenly it's half of the amount that you said before. Whereas I know just from experience that when I write goals down, so I used to do this thing right at the beginning where I would write down how much money I wanted to earn that month, and I would stick it on my laptop on a post-it note right in front of my eyes. And every time I earned, even like if I found 50p on the floor, I would cross off that goal and put like that minus 50 because that's how much I needed to bring in. And I did that every month. And it massively helped spur me on to try and make that money every month. But if that wasn't in my line of sight, I could easily forget about that and go and do some other things that weren't revenue generating activities because they're more fun, quite frankly.
Yeah, 100%. And keeping them visible is a really good motivator to help you achieve them, whether that's in a journal, if you journal before you go to bed, or in the morning, like you say, on a post-it note, even if it's on your bathroom mirror so you see it when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, wherever is visible to you, or on a notice board in your kitchen, anywhere that you're going to see it to keep you motivated.
So if somebody is like needing one tip to even work out what their goals are, let's say they're sitting here going, I don't even know, like I want so many things, I don't even know how to start with this. How do they get started?
They need to think about what area of their life making a change will mean the most to them. So it might be money, or it might be health, whatever to them will make the biggest difference in their life and make them, spur them on to work on other things.
Yeah.
Then they should focus on that to get started with. So it might be that somebody just wants to lose 10 pounds and they want to get that done, and they'll feel better about themselves. And once they feel better about themselves, they might feel more comfortable about getting out there and putting themselves...
Changing another goal.
Yeah,
achieving another goal. Yeah, I can see how that would work. So think about it. Like, do you want to change? Is it your relationships? And that could be friends relationships, not romantic relationships. It could be either. Is it about money? Is it about knowing what you want? Like having a goal to work out what it is that you actually want and starting there. Like what part of your life needs changing, and start there, but write those goals down. If somebody wants help with this, because as I love what you do as a business bestie, because I think sometimes you feel like you are doing this all alone and you need that person to just discuss it with, and just even, you know, come up with those goals together and then put that plan in place of how to get there. If someone wants that and they want you to help them with that, where's the best place for them to find you?
They can head to my website, which is lauraruss.co.uk. There's a contact me form on there. They can drop me a line, or they can find me on Instagram at Laura Russ Strategist.
Amazing. And we'll put those links in the show notes as well, because I think sometimes we all need that business bestie to brainstorm things with. Thank you for coming on today. And thank you everybody for listening as always. I'll be back next week with another episode telling you how you can start making money online. Thank you for listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson. If you'd like to get hold of my guide to launching, go to lisajohnson.com/launch and let's get you making money online.